Hello, everybody. It's October 1st. Happy October. I'm here with an overview for this 10th month in our solar cycle in 2025. There's a couple themes here that are somewhat carrying over from eclipse season, but there's also just some shifts in overarching themes that October brings with it this year. And it's worth noting, I did a weekly astrology forecast for this particular week, and we have um, some pretty strong Mars energy. Mars is in Scorpio for the entire month of October. It moved in on the 22nd of September. It'll be in Scorpio until the 4th of November. Mars is the ancient ruler of Scorpio. Before they discovered Pluto, Mars ruled Scorpio as well as Aries. The modern ruler of Scorpio is Pluto, but there's still a very simpatico powerhouse of an energy with Mars in Scorpio. And this is really about our personal power, but it's about what's beneath the surface, truths beneath the surface, hidden truths. So even though we're in Libra season in throughout most of October, the sun is in Libra for most of October, we are being prepared for Scorpio season that starts at the end of October and carries through November. And that's because of Mars in Scorpio. Also, because during this month, we have Mercury moving into Scorpio on the 6th. So these are two personal planets. They are planets that very much affect and manifest, make themselves apparent, more apparent than, say, Uranus or Neptune in our daily lives. And so this is part of a preparation that we're going through. And I say that both because of the scorpionic energy that's pretty strong here, even as we're in Libra season. And Scorpio is a sign of transformation because it has the Plutonian energy, and Pluto is the planet of death and rebirth. So we also have this month, this 10th month is a universal 1 month. And where we just came out of a lot of 9 energy last month in September, now we're in the 1 energy with the 10th month. 10 reduces to 1, and with the 0 on the end of the 10, that means there's also just this sign of infinity and infinite possibility. That being said, we are still in a universal 9 year throughout all of 2025. So the overarching theme of 2025 is 9, and that is about endings and beginnings. That is about letting go so that we can be prepared for the next steps, so that we're ready to hop into that new vessel that's going to carry us to the next place on our destination. So this month in particular, we're going to catch some glimpses of what's possible for us in 2026, because 2026 is a universal 1 year. So we're closing up shop here. We're in the last quarter of a number 9 year now with October. And this is really about letting things go, closures, things that are not going to be efficient for our really new beginning in 2026. And this particular month also reduces, October 2026 reduces to a 1, but I'm saying it's a precursor to the big energy. So it's going to be some times for some glimpses, sometimes in a very we're still in eclipse season, remember, for the next 6 months. We're out of eclipse season. Well, we are in eclipse season. We're in the eclipse energy for the next 6 months. And that's really that these eclipses were about self-care and really healthy boundaries and being self-aware and being aware of our energy and being aware of the energies that serve us and allowing space for the things that we want to nourish. We have to create space in our lives to have time and energy to invest in these new ventures. And so this is really, fall in general is a season of transformation. In the northern hemisphere we're in fall, southern hemisphere we're in spring, also a season of transformation. But because of the 9 universal year and the 1 energy, this is about taking a deep breath and realizing that everything is always synchronistically working out. And there are forces that are in our universe that are so powerful, and they're so far beyond the physical world. And with that being said, I want to touch briefly on it was first diagnosed as a comet, or called a comet, but now a lot of folks are saying it's not a comet. It was discovered in July this year. It's called 3I Atlas, and a lot of places, if you hear people talk about it, they call it an interstellar comet, but they've also said it's not a comet because it's doing a lot of things. The way it's traveling, it's just lit up light green. It's going super duper duper fast. It actually has six comets in its wake. And it's just this new celestial being that they just discovered this year. And it's going to be super duper close to Mars on the very beginning of this month on October 3rd. Uh, that's also why Scorpio energy is lighting up, because we have this new celestial body that's going to be sharing with us some kind of energetic information. And Mars in Scorpio is where it's going to be closest to at the beginning of this month. And then it's also going to be in a superior conjunction at the end of this month, which means it's going to be as close to the sun as it can get. And it's also going to be in alignment with the earth. And so it's interesting to note that that date that happens is the 21st, and the 21st is our new moon. So we have two lunations this lunar cycle. We have the full moon in Aries on October 6th or 7th, and I'll do a podcast about that. And that's really going to be about, again, our I am energy. And this is, the Libra Aries axis. Libra likes to always seeks to find harmony and balance and is always in a process of doing so. Mars is just very much action oriented, and both of them are needed. So we have the full moon in Aries and the new moon, full moon in Aries on the 6th or 7th, new moon in Libra on the 21st. And so this kind of axis of energy is going to be inviting us and kind of cajoling us, if we're resistant, to really make sure that we do take care of ourselves, really make sure that we are in alignment, that our house is in order, that the karmic things that we really want to wrap up are wrapped up. There's a lot of opportunity in this month. There's a little bit less tumultuousness in general, but also I'm not going to say that because we're still in eclipse season, and this 3-eye atlas. I'll talk more about it as it becomes in the weeks to come. But it's a very active comet or active cloud of gas, and like I said, it was just discovered earlier this year, and it's got all these other comets traveling behind it, and it's coming into our solar system to give us some information. So it's also, worth noting that we have on the 14th, we have Venus in Libra is going to be in opposition to Neptune. That's something that will be one of the big aspects this month. And Venus opposing Neptune is going to be, again, another invitation for this. Venus rules Libra. And so this idea of these higher orders of balance, these larger concepts of justice that quite likely are very far and above the current structures that we know in our world. There's a better way and there's a bigger way. And we're going to be getting some downloads around the 14th, but throughout this month. And we also have on the 22nd, Neptune's going to dip back into Pisces. Neptune is one of those, the outer planets, the transpersonal planets, and it's been, in Aries for a little bit, but when big planets make their transitions, they go into the sign and then they regress back and then they go back. So we've had this flash about what Neptune and Aries means, but we're going to get a time to kind of, again, culminate our wisdom, clean up shop from the 22nd of October. Neptune is going to be in Pisces. But in the middle of that, from October 1st to October 22nd, Neptune's going to be at 0 degrees of Aries. So for the bulk of the month, if you remember my podcast before, the 0 degrees of Aries is what's known as a world axis degree. And that means that there are going to be global things that are affecting all of humanity with what Neptune has to say about what it means to be in Aries. And just to recap, that is again about our I am self being willing and able to see and know and feel what is our truth. And part of what I think the upgraded version of Aries is, and Mars in Aries, and now Mars is in Scorpio, to lead with our hearts and to maybe remember that if we're seeking these intuitive downloads, these hits of truth, let our heart show us what is true and trust that what we feel inside. And we're supposed to be experiencing uplifted and expanded emotions and possibilities. And that might sound like an oxymoron given the transformation that our world is going through, but this is the beginning of it's a super huge shift and upgrade for humanity. And with Three Eye Atlas out there coming beaming its beams toward and within our solar system, lighting up Mars and lighting up the sun and aligning with the earth, and all of that's happening this month. This is just a month to kind of buckle up in the sense of being willing to let our mind expand in ways that we may have never thought possible. So, have a blessed month. I hope that you find this helpful, and I will see you in a little bit for the full moon broadcast. All right, bright blessings. So much love.